Unconditional care is about loving a child for who they are, not just what they do. It's important to draw this distinction between behavior and identity and show kids they're valued no matter what. Let's talk about how to do that. This unconditional care is really about providing unwavering love and acceptance regardless of a child's behavior. Let me just jump right in because I know that there's going to be comments and thumbs down about this video. Maybe those people aren't even going to make it this far. It does not mean that you say, "Great job punching me in the face." That's not unconditional care. But it does mean you are not withholding love. You are not withholding care from a child because of the way that they behave. It means offering that love and support without conditions. I have been hospitalized 3 times because children have beat me up in different ways. I have broken my kneecap, I've broken fingers, and I have been bitten where a piece of my flesh was actually taken out of me. And in all those situations, I can say I was frustrated. I can say I was scared at times. But what I can tell you is the next time I saw each of those children, they got the same care as if it had never happened. It doesn't mean we didn't talk about it. It doesn't mean that they didn't apologize, and actually they came up and apologized on their own. Each of them came up and apologized on their own. But it does mean that I did not withhold love and care from them just because of their behaviors. In mental health, we call this unconditional positive regard, which means that we care for the kids that we care for, even when we don't love their behaviors. I gave you some extreme examples about being hospitalized, but I've also had kids smack me and punch me and throw sand in my face and stomp on my toes. I actually wear steel-toed tennis shoes now because that was actually happening on a consistent basis. It doesn't mean that I love everything that kids do to me or do when they are with me, but it does mean that I'm not going to withhold my care for them just because of those behaviors. And it doesn't mean I condone the negative behaviors. It's again just not withholding care or love as a form of punishment. One way that I see this play out, and I've actually seen it happen several times, especially recently, and I just want to provide this right now to say this is not the way to handle this situation. There have been children who have come to my office and they've said that their parent came to them and said that they are not going to celebrate their birthday because of some bad behaviors that they've shown. Now, let me say, that does not mean, and I'm not a huge proponent for spending a ton of money on birthday parties or making it be the biggest celebration the world has ever seen. But to say, I'm not going to celebrate your birthday. I actually had a parent recently who called me and said, I'm about to throw away the birthday cake that I made for them. This was not an extravagant party. I'm going to throw away the birthday cake that I made for them, and I'm going to return all the presents to the grocery store. They need to know we are not celebrating their birthday at all this year. That message to a child is that their existence is not worth celebrating. Really think about that. That is withholding care, withholding love because of something that they did. And again, that doesn't mean that plans don't change. If your child has been consistently disruptive, it may not be the best decision to take them out to a public place and have a big party that you have planned. But to just say we are not celebrating you being born in any way at all, when it's traditional that you have celebrated this. I know that there's some religions and some cultures where you don't celebrate birthdays. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that if you have celebrated a child's birthday, and then you are saying, because of the way you are acting, we are not going to celebrate that you have been born, what it tells them is, I wish you would not have been born. Even if that's not the message you intended to send, that's the message the child picks up. Don't withhold care. Don't withhold love because of a child's behaviors. There are some practical ways that you can do this. And a big one as a caregiver is really to separate the child's worth from their actions, both positive and negative. Sometimes care gets withheld if a child loses their basketball game or loses their soccer game because they didn't do a positive thing well enough. That is the same thing here. This unconditional care means whether they are the star of the basketball team or whether they have fouled, I don't know obviously much about sports at all, or whether they have fouled every time they've tried to jump in and play. Oh my goodness, this is so embarrassing that I just gave that analogy. But it means that regardless of their performance, they will be loved and cared for. Regardless of their behavior, they will be loved and cared for. And it doesn't mean that they get all the special things, and it doesn't mean that they have earned a reward when they haven't earned a reward, but it does mean that you will not withhold love and care based on their behaviors. Separate the worth from their actions. They are amazing regardless of what they do. And even when behavior isn't okay, even when you have to provide that conversation to talk about this behavior is not okay, but I love you deeply, but this is not going to be acceptable. That is unconditional care. And offering that consistent love and care even during difficult times, times that are difficult for you and times that are difficult for the child. Can you be there and not withhold just because of something that the child has done? That is what unconditional care is all about. It's about valuing the child, even when their behavior challenges you. How do you practice unconditional care? Share those experiences in the comments.